All right, everyone. Jeremy checking in from GP Las Vegas. I actually, it's only what 11:30, 9:30 here right now, but I'm back in my room for some good sleep. Got to get some sleep for the main event. I slept till like 5 o'clock today because there was last night got pretty crazy. Went to my last chance trial and scrubbed out. Came back to some pretty interesting news. Now, normally I wouldn't just scrape Reddit and or another website and then upload it and call that unique content. I'll leave that to some other YouTubers who do it much better than I do. But this is something that I actually have some personal something to add, right? So there, it's something I've been suspected, but or that I've been suspecting for some time. But today broke a bit of a scandal about Magic Online. So let me share what we know, what the post actually says, and then I'm going to add what I know. So this person says, "I'll be brief since I can no longer be a part of this." I'm assuming it's someone who was taking part in it. There's a group that waits until late night when population is slow. The scout player hops in and out of the draft queue to time when one fires. He alerts when a draft has fired. Sometimes he gets caught in one, and that's fine. He plays it out. 8 other players enter a draft together, landing in the same draft while talking on Discord. These 8 players coordinate each draft, basically the strongest decks possible out of 24 packs. And it says, we use the full first 2 timers over 2 minutes to call out, like, I'm going red white aggro or I'm going UG ramp. And of course, we compare where we are in rotation to make sure we get the bomb rares, mythics, and uncommons for that deck. Now this is the Magic Online leagues. Then they hop on the next set of accounts and do it again, slotting up a series of killer decks late night when nobody's on. Multi-accounting also avoids getting too high in the league rankings, which you don't want to do to draw attention to yourself. Great, there's a bunch of absurd decks slotted up, time for bed. Play them anytime. Then there are a huge number of groups doing this. We are in personal competition with a big number of them, many of them the same college who heard the idea from us and copied us, but we are still a small fraction of the field. They're all doing this. P.S. The land slot in each pack is pretty much the grease that makes this all possible. If we all really needed to ship a card down the table, taking the land boosts our ability to do so. Blah, blah, blah. TLDR, MTGO's new draft league format is severely broken, and you're getting fucked. And this is something I've actually suspected a long time, for many years. And I know some people that do this, and they do it via Skype. And or they'll all be in the same room together. And it's a pretty hefty allegation to make publicly, so I've never really said anything about that or about them. And I'm not going to do so now because, you know, it's tough. As someone who's had crazy allegations launched at me, unless I have the smoking gun, I'm not going to say it. But let me say this. I've been in Skype conversations with them on the phone as they draft many people in the same room, all at the same time, scamming the system. Okay, so I know this has been happening for years. And now with the league, it's even more, it's even easier, right? You just keep drafting up these decks, and then you hop on the next day and you wreck everybody. And I don't know how you avoid this. When I first found out that this was going on with this other group, I thought, well, doesn't Wizards look for things like, hey, you have the same IP address and you're all logging in together at the same time? This is a flag. But then I thought, well, what if it's like a university and they see the same outside IP address, and then, you know, maybe MAC address? Can they see the MAC address? I'm not sure. But I don't think they do any level of security like this at all. And when you're talking about real money, like real money is involved here, right? It's not a cash prize, so to speak. However, when you have when you have something that you can convert to cash, it's essentially the same thing, right? I've logged in. You log in, you pay your $14 or $24 for sealed. So, but they're doing drafts, so it's like 14 probably, and then they win the packs. What's even better is like they don't have to face each other, right? Now, when I know, for example, these 8 people, or let's say it's 20 or 50 or 100, they just don't log in at the same time when they're playing their matches, right? So then everyone they play is at a disadvantage, and they never. It'd be one thing if they all drafted absurd decks and then played against each other. I guess I wouldn't have a problem with that, right? But what they're happening is then they're like crushing Joe Sixpack. You know, Joe, it's Thursday night. I worked all day. I'm going to come home and play a draft, and then they get completely wrecked by a broken deck. And the best I can see is Wizards has not addressed this publicly, at least. It's only been live. I want to upload this tonight because it's only been live, for 2 or 3 hours. And I wanted to try and break the story if I could, because it's been something that I suspected for a long time. Now, it's different when you say, like, it seems like I hear a lot of feedback from fans who play MTGO who say, like, man, I just get wrecked. I'm facing nonstop broken decks. I don't understand. And it's easy as Magic players to then say, like, you see somebody in a seal pool with 2 Glorybringers, and you're like, oh, they cheated. Well, I can honestly say I've had 2 Glorybringers in a seal pool before. It happens. It's super rare, but it probably happens at least 50-50 to the amount of times that somebody cheats. And being here at GP Vegas, I would say, unfortunately, they haven't done anything to help to stop people from adding cards to their sealed pools. I've played in several events. I've seen 0 deck checks happen, and maybe that's not something they do. They probably don't even do that in qualifiers, even though they say it's competitive REL. And I got yelled at several times for having my headphones on or for having my cell phone in my hand. So they were enforcing the rules. I would assume that they do deck checks, but I didn't see a single one happen. That doesn't mean they weren't happening. They just didn't happen in any events. I've been watching, right? I've been watching for it. I've been asking people. I met about 100 people here. I've been asking them. I've been conversing with people across the table from me about the judge interactions. And I don't know how you fix this. How do you prevent this long term? I think you could probably build a database or build like an algorithm. I'm very, very pessimistic about Wizards developers being able to do this, but you could build some sort of algorithm that would look for the same users entering drafts at the same time more than once, more often, and then you could ban them. I think what I'm curious, what I'd like to ask you guys is do we know if any other games have systems in place that maybe we could share with Wizards? Is there some, in the comment section down below, for those of you that might be developers or even like aspiring developers, what are some ways that we can kind of turn this into something positive, where we can suggest something to Wizards to fix it? Because it's one thing to just bitch about stuff, but I do want to take the time to try and present honest, reasonable solutions. I think algorithmically you should be able to be tracking. I mean, I think it's absurd that they're not already doing this. And I thought this 2 years ago when I found out about this happening. But we know how Wizards is about cheating. They don't acknowledge it. They have the out of sight, out of mind mentality when it comes to cheating. When they catch people cheating, they kind of unceremoniously issue bans. They kind of sweep everything under the rug, and it's just a bad look for the game. Now I have to look back and think about like how much money has been stolen from players paying hard-earned money for digital cards to be set up essentially against a stacked deck. So have you heard of this before? I'm going to leave a link to the thread in the description below where you can read a little bit more about this. But I'm definitely interested to hear how we might be able to fix this and what kind of punishment you think might be appropriate for these people, because they've done more than cheat. They've stolen money basically from everyone they've faced. And I think Wizards should be responsible to figure out who these people are, and then at minimum credit people back the tickets for every event that they faced any one of these people. That's what I want to see happen. What do you want to see happen?